According to census data, DINKs can save 9% more for retirement each year compared to dual-income couples with children.
That's it? I'm going to sacrifice having a family so I can save $400 more a year? How much are these DINKs wasting money and not improving their career prospects if they can only come up with an extra $400 a year?
I truly thought, I'm going to be real with you, I didn't get this far in the video when I saw it. I truly thought that it would be maybe at least half more or twice as more. If you don't have kids and you're bragging about not having children, you have all this income now, unless the children aren't the problem. Hello, and welcome back to another episode here on The Bridge Reacts, and I'm your host here on the channel, Marcus. Thank you for stopping by to see another episode here on The Bridge where we're talking about, good things, great things, and positive things as well. Trying to decrease divorce rate and add into long-lasting relationships and marriages. Stronger working class, a stronger family unit here on The Bridge. Welcome. Today's video, we're talking about something a little bit different. Talking about this weird trend. Didn't really know much about it until I saw this video not too long ago. Most of the video. Didn't see the whole thing, but I'm going to bring it to the audience. I don't know if you heard of the DINKs or D-I-N-K. I'll let them explain it in a second what DINKs are, but trying to convince people to have less children in a day and age of where we need a population to make it out of this and continue the human race, really, to be fair. But today's video, we're looking at Think Before You Sleep. They make amazing content, a lot of great videos, a lot of great intellect and great points. Great communicator. Actually, just a great channel all in all. Please check it out. And if you like this channel, please subscribe, hit the like button and notification bell as well. Let's get straight to the content.
We got married fairly young, and we both just decided for many reasons we didn't want kids. And at some point we heard the acronym DINK and I think just really fell in love with it.
Children are the of net worth. Pretty crude, but honestly very true.
Right, because during a population crisis where every first world country is below replacement, the smartest thing to do is promote childlessness and to give people reasons why they shouldn't have children. I mean, watching this mini documentary, you would think that kids are the worst in the world and every couple should be a DINK or a dual income no kids couple.
If anybody is considering becoming a DINK, as a financial planner, I highly recommend that strategy. I recommend it to my clients. When my clients tell me that's an intentional choice they're gonna make, I am a big fan of it.
As opposed to like the 100 other things you can do to outweigh the cost of having kids? If we're talking about this purely from a transactional standpoint, because this video doesn't address anything emotional, having kids makes it much easier to network, which can easily lead to better job opportunities that you would not have had if you didn't have kids. That could mean you get a better office job because one of the parents on your kid's baseball team is the hiring manager at a major company. Or if you're a blue-collar worker, you become the guy who installs and fixes all the air conditioners of all the parents on the local sports team. I knew many parents who did that when I was a kid.
That's a good point. I didn't really think about it like that because face value, of course, I mean, duh. Yes, if you didn't have children, you could put that money back towards yourself and whatever you're trying to do financially, financial freedom, take yourself out of debt, be able to travel more, do more things for yourself and like the single life, right? Or the unmarried life, or potentially married and not having children, being DINKs. Then again, in the same breath, I mean, to each his own. I'm gonna let the video just play. We're gonna get straight to it, but save my thoughts for the end. It's just weird if you're like telling people that they should do this when they're on the fence already. And again, if we're already, the world isn't overpopulated. That's not true anymore, if that was ever really true, but it's not overpopulated. It's definitely actually a deficit in a lot of places where they're actually trying to tell people, hey, we will give you free housing and all this other stuff if you come over here and help us repopulate our country. Like, I think places in like Japan, other places, other countries are actually doing that. So there is actually a deficit in population, but let's continue.
That being said, there seems to be a large sentiment from the legacy media against having children. We call it the legacy media now because not enough people watch it anymore to call it the mainstream media. But there is a strong sentiment against having children in the media, whether it's this piece here from Vox that I covered a couple years ago, or this one here from The Economist, or the one that I just showed from CNBC called Why More Americans Are Going Child-Free, which is actually not the only hit piece that CNBC has made to push the idea of not having children. They did this one a few years ago called Does Having Kids Make You Happier? Oh, and look, it's that lady from the Vox video that I covered who basically said that having kids will make you depressed. Let's see what she had to say.
Parenthood is like a roller coaster ride of ups and downs, of highs and lows. And life without children is simply much more stable. It has much less variation. My financial well.
I mean, I I get what she's saying. And for the record, I am not married currently, nor do I have children currently. And I could see what she's saying, the stability of like not having, ups and downs are not as crazy. But I mean, then there's those amazing times where you do have, I'd imagine, I don't have kids, but I would imagine, having children, being there, experiencing the growing up process with them and reliving your childhood through them almost to a degree. But yeah.
Well-being would be better off if I had not had children. And that's true of all child-free people in the United States. They are financially better off.
All of them are better off financially? That seems like an incredibly easy to attack generalization that a university professor should not be saying. So we have our narrative, we have our dink couple that serves as an anecdote that the audience can connect to, and we have our consultants who are purely here to advertise the university or business they represent, like Wells Fargo. Hey, remember what they got caught doing a couple years ago? Anyway, let's see why you shouldn't have children.
I remember.
Some couples are contemplating having children at the same time that they're still paying off student loans that they incurred when they were 18 to 22 years old.
All the more reason to try to convince more people to not waste their money by going to college. Not every degree is worth $50,000 to $100,000 of debt. If your time in college doesn't lead you to a career that makes it easy to pay off what you spent on your degree, then you screwed up. You can easily research the job market for how much your degree is worth, and if you don't know how to do that, then just look it up on YouTube. Certainly you should not be going to an Ivy League school unless your rich parents are paying for it, or your degree is super valuable. But these days, for the most part, colleges are just basically scamming people out of tons of money and wasting their time. Colleges need to be restructured to get rid of useless programs like these.
Hey, I'm Nina, and I studied the arts, education, and social justice.
I'm Joyce. I studied decolonial intimacies, indigenous politics, and resistance.
Hi, I'm Daniela. I'm studying living artfully, art as ritual therapy, and pathways of decoloniality.
Okay, now you're just making shit up. How much does...
You said what pathway of decoloniality?
And pathways of decoloniality.
What? There's no way.
NYU cost? But these programs should not exist, and college needs to get rid of general education. Nobody remembers any of their GE anyway, and this would cut the cost of college in half. If I'm wasting money on a communications major, I should not have to take chemistry. We already have enough general education in elementary school, middle school, and high school. Now, this won't solve the student debt crisis, but I will say that because of how interest rates work, $20,000 is a lot easier to pay off than $40,000. All right, next reason why kids are bad.
So if you look at inflation within the child care market, it surpasses general overall inflation within the economy.
And we have more proof that moving the culture towards households with two working parents was a mistake. Not only does this flood the labor market with more competition, which gives employers a lot of power and lowers wages, but it also removes the benefit of children having the people who care about them the most taking care of them, which are their own parents. Now the market has corrected itself to the extent that childcare is too expensive to afford.
One of my very closest friends, she's been struggling with the reality that the take-home pay she makes is about equal to what childcare would be. That's a really hard position to be in.
Well, there you go. Don't work. Problem solved. If you can't provide enough economic value...
You do need to work to still. Then... Where's that man in the household doing that? What is he doing? Is he working, or is he there
to offset the cost of childcare for your family?
To each his own, but it's 2024, so two-parent household or dual income is probably going to be needed in this economy, inflation, unfortunately, to the average family, average couple.
Then you shouldn't be working. Now, I understand that we live in the real world, and obviously for a lot of families, having one parent stay home is not realistic. However, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be pushing to try to make it so as many families as possible can afford to have one parent who stays at home. Not only would this be better for children, but it would also lower demand for childcare, which would decrease its price and make having kids more affordable, which would encourage more people to have them. There are plenty of ways to make it so more people can afford a one working parent home. One would be telling young people, hey, instead of getting a stupid degree in gender studies, how about you become an x-ray tech or a nurse? You can also push guys more towards trades. Trades make a ton of money, and for a lot of them, the education is just a few months, maybe a year or two, which is still way less time than college. Some of them are apprenticeships, which means they'll pay you while you're in school. These young people could also move to cheaper states.
Take notes, y'all.
California and New York aren't the only places to live. They could create parenting co-ops where everyone takes turns watching each other's kids so they don't have to pay a babysitter every time.
That sounds like community. We need to build that trust back in the community too, and like, you know, people who you want to grow your children around their children and build that, and then you guys watch each other's children. I think that'd be great. It's like a village kind of thing situation, right? Like a tribe.
They could learn how to cook instead of door dashing everything, and they can learn basic repair and maintenance, so affording to live doesn't cost an astronomical amount of money. Back in the past, people would do everything themselves instead of outsourcing all their chores.
It's true.
So with a little forward planning, there are a lot of things you can do to make it so you can afford to have kids. Moving on, let's get to my favorite part of this CNBC documentary.
We started investing in our early 20s. I feel really safe because we have this strong nest egg of ETFs that are accessible and fairly liquid. And we also have our...
I don't know why I thought she said NFTs. I thought she said NFTs for a second. I was like, I need to break the news to you, ma'am.
long-term savings, which are, you know, tied up in IRAs. We can choose what our aging years look like because we've saved to plan for that eventuality.
So this is the crux of the video's argument against having kids. They say it's better for your finances. This, by the way, is not talking about any of the psychological benefits of having a family. I bring this up because relationships and kids are a profound factor in keeping people stable and away from behaviors like drug addiction. Something to look out for if you plan to stay permanently single. It's a lot harder to keep yourself away from degeneracy. But
that makes a lot of sense as well. I never thought of it like that, but that's a good point because they obviously have someone that is extremely dependent on you, and you would be negatively, you know, looked at by everybody else, your peers and everybody else, you know, if you don't take care of said person who obviously depends on you. So it would keep you out of trouble more than likely. The probability is higher because obviously there are individuals who have kids, they still fall victim to drug abuse and addiction, stuff like that, right?
Okay, let's hear what CNBC has to say. How much better is it for your finances to not have kids?
According to census data, DINKs can save 9% more for retirement each year compared to dual-income couples with children.
That's it? I'm going to sacrifice having a family so I can save $400 more a year? How much are these DINKs wasting money and not improving their career prospects if they can only come up with an extra $400 a year?
I truly thought, I'm going to be real with you, I didn't get this far in the video when I saw it. I truly thought that it would be maybe at least half more or twice as more. If you don't have kids and you're bragging about not having children, you have all this income now, unless the children aren't the problem.
This documentary starts out by saying that it's like $300,000 to raise each kid. You figure with those numbers that DINKs would be maxing out their 401k every year, but based on these numbers, you could reasonably assume that people who have kids are way more responsible with their money. No way, you've got to be kidding me. CNBC cites Rocket Mortgage for this data, which is not the primary source of it, by the way. This means that a major organization is too stupid or too lazy to cite the primary source, or they're citing Rocket Mortgage as the source to advertise yet another bank in this video. Anyway, the Rocket Mortgage article that is citing the U.S. Census Bureau current population survey says that a key takeaway is that families with kids are 22% more likely to own their own home. Why wasn't this in the CNBC video? Isn't homeownership important to most people?
Another 2021 study found that childless adults aged 55 and older had a personal median net worth of $153,900, compared to $130,400 for biological parents.
Again, that's it? You're telling people to sacrifice all the benefit that a family can bring to get an extra $23,000 in net worth? Sure, it's a noticeable difference, but at the start of this video, they were saying that kids were the of finances.
Children are the of net worth. Pretty crude, but honestly very...
$23,000 definitely can do a lot for you. It's like, I mean, that's a vacation, couple vacations and some change and, you know, pay stuff off, you know, but still, like the benefits of having a family. We let it play just a little bit more. Straight to my final thoughts, but
isn't this kind of an overstatement based on the data that they showed? The person who did the editing decided to put that clip in there despite their info showing that it's not really a life-ending difference. Kids are so expensive for middle-class families, and having kids is financial.
Hannah Baker.
then I would expect dinks to have like double the net worth of people who decided to have kids.
If you have $1 and if you have to choose how to use it, a dink can prioritize savings, retirements, investments, both in the equities market as well as things like real estate or second properties.
You do the same thing with
let's
kids.
have the Wells Fargo lady tell everyone to make sure to put their money in the bank or put their money towards investments that banks own. This whole segment wasn't actually just CNBC telling people to not have children so they can remind people to use a bank that's famous for screwing their customers over, was it? Outside of that, to me it just sounds like a lot of the notion of not wanting to have kids stems from selfishness and hedonism, and the people they chose for this documentary don't really debunk that.
Hedonism is definitely going to be a term. We're going to make a video just specifically on hedonism.
Not having children has given us the freedom to pursue other things, remodeling our home. I am a beekeeper.
Cool. Remodeling a house and beekeeping doesn't really describe purpose, and most people's purpose is their children. Having purpose and meaning keeps people away from degeneracy, and certainly removing social conventions like going to church have produced a net negative on people's social well-being and sense of community. So I don't think that most of the people who are moving towards not having kids because of a modern economic crisis are going to have the mental bandwidth to figure out an adequate replacement for not having kids when it comes to their life purpose. Plus, when it comes to replacing what religion used to provide, it seems like a sizable number of people have had a nasty habit of replacing Christianity with idolizing an authoritarian government, and my hypothesis on the childlessness thing is that the less vigilant people are going to replace that with hedonism and depression as opposed to a fulfilling life. So not a great idea to trash age-old social norms so that you can solder custom keyboards.
That's the thing about Think Before You Sleep. I'm gonna get to my final thoughts, but this channel, like, we're gonna watch a few more videos from Think Before You Sleep in the future. Just amazing content, breaks it down. Like, he really does a lot of great research as well. Let's get to my final thoughts. So dinks, or individuals who feel as though, you know, it's better to not have kids, and that's up to you. Once again, this is not, I'm not telling people, especially when there's a lot of, you know, not so great parents out there, unfortunately, and or kids who are stuck in a situation where the parents didn't want them, maybe, and they're in orphanage, stuff like that. I'm not telling people that they should be parents, because there are a lot of bad parents out there. But I'm just saying that the ones who are on the fence if they should or they shouldn't, I don't think it's great to have anyone trying to influence these individuals to not. Because if you're, you know, just humor me for a second. If you're a whole country that's, you know, trying to control masses, large group of people, and yeah, you want a whole country full of workers and not thinkers, you need to continue to produce said thinkers, right? So you're going to need children. So I don't know why this evil cabal or whatever is running the nation and in the world. I don't know what they're going to do without having us reproduce their workers and individuals who are going to be slaves of consuming. We need kids still. So, I mean, I don't understand the whole agenda here. What's the point? That doesn't make a lot of sense from that angle either. So I don't know. To each his own. The whole point of the video. To each his own. I just don't think it's right to say that it's better, because I don't think kids aren't the problem. It's not. When was kids? The kids aren't the problem, and our great grandparents and great grandparents of that who've had many children, plethora of children. But then again, of course, cost of living and things like that are different. But I'm just saying that kids were never the problem. It's the cost of living and things around us. It's the actual problem. Being able to afford, you know, any kind of child care or caregiver care, or, you know, daycare, stuff like that, or just, you know, even better, have the actual parents, the actual family, not someone else who's being paid to take care of your children, to watch your children and teach them. But once again, I think the money, the inflation, and the cost of living is the actual problem, not having kids and having a family. Again, another thing that I think that's attacking family is kind of my other part of this video as well. An attack on family. And it's just, it's really annoying to see. And they truly aren't backing up with all the evidence. They're just giving you very specific outlet of what they believe in, their own agenda, their own narrative of, hey, you should not have kids so you can make 9% more, save 9% more on your car insurance by switching to Geico. It's like, who cares, bro? Anyways, tell me what you think. Your thoughts. Are you going to be a dink? Do you think dinks, it's a great pathway in life? It's going to save you a lot of money versus having family. Another part of my final thoughts, I mean, kind of edge this back in there. I mean, what are the most amazing beneficial things about having a family? Being able to see someone that's part of your DNA that you create with somebody else grow up, have those experiences and watch them learn and play and all that good stuff, right? Christmas time, their birthday, first tooth, all that good stuff. So why you think saving extra 20 some thousand a year, which is great, it's amazing. You think that's a better pathway versus having your own family, your own lineage, and then growing up and seeing them have their own and swell and expand and it. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. But again, you can tell me yours. And please subscribe, hit the like button, and notification bell as well if you like what you see here on the video and on the channel. And I will see you guys next time. Big thanks to all the new subscribers and people in the comments section. And thank you guys for hitting the like button and being a part of this. Really appreciate it. And we'll catch you guys next time. See ya.